What's up, team, and welcome back to Mindset Win, your Red Bull podcast, where we're giving you the tools to become better at what you do. As you can see, I'm sitting here with York. So it's Thursday, and we're going to analyze a really cool conversation. Are you ready, York?
Oh, yes. Are you?
I am, and I am so excited to share this one with you because a couple of weeks back, I had the huge pleasure to sit down and chat with World Cup winning Springbok captain Siya Kolisi.
For me to make it through life and to be here today, I've already won in life, not just me, many other people. I never thought I would be where I am today.
York, Siya Kolisi, I mean, such an impressive guy, so fun yet so calm. How did you experience him?
Yeah, it's always great listening to him. Such a natural, professional athlete, in my opinion, and I think truly a great leader for that team.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like we really should talk about leadership a little bit more here because, you know, if you're really trying to assess this whole topic, there's so much depth that you can go into. If or when you're working with your athletes on this topic of leadership, how do you approach this whole idea?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it should be said that I think every athlete has to be a leader in some way. For some athletes, it's a lot more formal by being the captain of a team, or even just the captain or the leader of two athletes. For example, in beach volleyball, when there's two on the field, that one of them is the natural leader and the other one maybe isn't. But then even the individual sport athletes still have to be leaders in certain ways, because a lot of times they have a team around them and everyone around them is working for them. So they're in so many ways they are the leader of that team, and also sometimes even the leader of representing the sport or representing a nation. Even that can be some sort of leadership role, I see.
So how do you work with them then? What does it mean for you to find their leadership role or define their tasks, really?
Yeah, there's so many different ways of leadership, and you know, you've probably heard a lot of people say that, you know, oh, he's a natural leader, he's a born leader or something, and I don't think that really exists. I think it's just whenever everything comes together, when the personality traits of that person really fits with the environment and also the task. If all of that is kind of a good match, then you might say, oh, he's a perfect leader. But in a different setting, they might not be a good leader at all. So I think it's really important, first of all, for the athletes to really find out what are their personalities, what are their strengths, to then understand what type of leader am I, and then also have really clear conversations with the people around them to set clear expectations. Like, this is the type of person I am. This is what I expect from you. What do you expect from me? To really learn from each other and understand how they can work together best.
It's so interesting that you're saying that because I'm actually in a leadership program right now, and we did this little task that we had to do. It was a list of, 100 values maybe, and we had to narrow it down to 7 to 10 and even had to rank them. That was so hard, and it was very, eye-opening because you always had to, weigh out the different options and how you are as a person. So values, I think, are one very big thing when finding out what type of leader you are.
Yeah.
What other aspects do you guys work together
So
on?
I think values is a really important aspect, like you say. But I would actually start one step before with the personalities or the beliefs, because they shape what you value in life. So I would start with that first. And there are many different tools available to do a personality assessment, a strength assessment. Personally, I would always recommend the Clifton Strength Finder, and then also the Red Bull Wing Finder. That's based on the Strength Finder. It's really quick to do, actually. Half an hour and you're done. And it really it tells you about your strength, what you are really good at, or what you place a lot of importance on in your life and as a leader. And I think it's so important to understand what it is that drives me, what excites me, and then share that with the people around you as well. So, for example, if for you, harmony or relationships or human connections, if that's what comes out of the Strength Finder, that this is really important to you, then that's important to share with the other people as well. That this is what's most important to you. That everyone in the team feels valued, that everyone is in harmony, and everyone feels safe. But maybe instead you're someone who's more like an achiever, someone who just wants to get stuff done, and sometimes neglects the human connection or the harmony. But at the end of the day, you get things done quite quickly. But then again, to kind of share that with other people and say, this is who I am. I just want to get it done. Sorry if sometimes not everyone's happy, but at least we get the job done.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do the wings and the Strength Finder work? What do they ask you, or how do you find out if harmony maybe is one of your strengths or values?
Yeah, so it's quite interactive. It's quite fun, I would say, actually. If we focus on the Wing Finder, there's one of the parts is some pictures. Different pictures come up, and there's a question of, for example, how do you feel when someone steals your lunch? And then there's different pictures to choose from. One is like a roaring lion.
Oh my God.
The other one is more like
a scale would be a 10 in rage for me. Yeah.
I think that's what most people answer, but some people maybe not. So it's choosing from pictures, which is quite easy. Then there's some fun, like, logical problems to solve. Then there are some case scenarios where it just describes the situation, and you have different options to choose from, how you would react, what you would choose to do in that situation. And at the end, you just get, your individual report that tells you what your strengths are. And also, people tend to want to find out about what are my weaknesses. But actually, these are specifically designed to show you, this is what you're good at, this is who you are, use it. Instead of saying, okay, you're good at this stuff, but you're really terrible at this stuff. Because that really doesn't help anyone, because these things are really fixed. If we're talking about personality traits, it's so difficult. It takes such a long time to change anything like that. Sometimes, like, really big events in your life can change your personality somewhat, but not very much. So therefore, I think it's really important to just focus on the strength, focus on, okay, this is who I am, rather than looking at this is who I am not, because you're not going to change that. You're not going to suddenly be able to become someone that you're not. So
okay, and let's say I did my half an hour on the wings and the Strength Finder. Now I know technically, black on white, who I am. How do I deal with that now? You mentioned you have to communicate this openly, and it's an easy way to say that, but I feel like it takes a lot of inner strength to be open about this, because, as you said, not all the characteristics that could potentially come out of there are necessarily good or nice or socially very
they are.
easy to deal with.
You might say that, like, it's not good to not be someone who's placing a lot of importance on harmony in the team. But this is what I meant earlier. In some situations, that's exactly the type of leader that you need.
Cool. Yeah, true.
So I think it's if you are a leader of a team, and what that specifically means, I'll come back to in a minute. But if you are in a leadership role in a team, I think it's really crucial to establish a really open atmosphere with your other team members, to say, what are your strengths, and what are my strengths. And if a certain task comes up that maybe my strengths are not that suitable for, to use the other people in my team and say, I really need you on this, because it's not one of my strengths to think of new ideas, but I clearly see that it's one of your strengths. So can you help me brainstorm? I need some innovative ideas here. And just to come back to Siya, actually, that's something that he mentions as well, that, he really understands the importance of using everyone in the team, and everyone has a role, everyone has a part to play, and it just happens to be his part to talk with the referee on the field, but someone else in the team has another task. So I think that's a really important skill to have as a leader.
It is. and not necessarily taking all the responsibility and, making all the decisions, but delegating in the right moment as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just to come back to what I said just now, like being a leader, it doesn't always have to be, like I mentioned earlier with the athletes, you don't always have to be the formal leader of a team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying it doesn't always have to be the boss or the manager or something. In certain projects or certain tasks in our daily life, it can be anyone. Anyone could be the leader. And even in our personal life, if it's at home planning a holiday with a family, maybe that's more the task of your partner and not your own task. But if it's about choosing the new tiles for the kitchen, maybe that's your task again. So just being aware that a leader is not always the kind of formally elected leader, but there's different leadership roles all the time in our lives.
So I feel like it's more about being very self-aware of who's the right person for the right moment, right? And self-awareness is such a hard thing to achieve, I feel, because, we have our own thoughts. Everyone has their own insecurities. And sometimes that gets in the way of making the best possible decision, probably.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And again, we have very strong beliefs about certain things. And sometimes we believe too strongly that we're not suitable for a certain task. But there, again, I feel like doing something like a personality assessment, the Strength Finder or the Wing Finder, will help you to at least maybe discover one or two more strengths that you weren't so aware of that it is one of your strengths. And also, again, a confirmation of maybe what you already know are your strengths. So that's my clear recommendation to everyone to go ahead and do that.
So speaking of self-awareness, I wonder obviously how I can get there, maybe through other tools. And one thing that I touched on with Siya, excuse me, as well was therapy. So how do you approach the whole topic? How do you see that? And I know that it's a big stigma for a lot of people and,
Sure. Yeah.
Kind of scary. What would you tell those listeners?
Sure. I mean, on the one hand, there's therapy, psychotherapy, which is often or is mostly related then to mental health issues, mental illnesses that really have to be treated. And on the other hand, you also have different types of coaching sessions. There are life coaches, mental coaches, all of these types of coaches. And of course, there's a clear difference of the purpose for those sessions and also somewhat the outcome. Whereas therapy is more to actually treat and bring people back to a healthy standard. The other one is more for self-development and so on. But whatever it is that, whether you need therapy or more of the coaching sessions, both kind of have this unique moment where you're sitting down with a therapist or a coach and you spend 45 minutes, an hour and a half really just talking about yourself, reflecting on certain things and really finding out more about yourself and finding out who you are and how to get better, how to improve. And I mean, a lot of people will be happy to go to the gym for 3 hours a week or go running, work on their kind of physical health, spend time making a very nutritious and healthy meal. But how much time do we actually spend on improving our mindset, improving our mental health? How much time do we really dedicate to talking with someone, talking with a professional to develop ourselves, to improve ourselves in that regard? So therefore, I really, I'm a strong advocate for, telling people, yes, just dedicate a little bit of time in your life to actually becoming a better person, a better leader, a better partner, all of these things, because we're really not dedicating enough time on that.
Would you maybe recommend an athlete that you could potentially work with who doesn't feel like he or she could be a leader or doesn't feel, capable enough to take on a role like that? Would you recommend to, maybe not only do the Wings and Strength Finder, but also approach maybe a coaching session to get a little bit easier into the whole idea?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, there are certain personalities that just it's easier for them to just step into a leadership role. And I've certainly come across a number of athletes who have had to take some sort of leadership responsibilities, but weren't feeling very comfortable with that. And again, it's important to remember that we can't change them and suddenly make them become a leader that's thriving on that. But instead, we can help them in coaching sessions. I can help them to just feel a little bit more comfortable with it, and also find ways to kind of share that responsibility, give more responsibility to other people in the team, and so on. And again, like I said earlier, just become aware of their own strengths and find out ways to use those strengths. So, of course, it's one thing to just be aware of them, but then it's another step. Many coaching sessions to really understand how can I use that strength in certain situations.
And maybe a final question, kind of, because obviously we don't only have people in leadership positions listening right now. I truly feel that you can be, to a certain extent, in every position that you have, like even in, like on a vacation trip, maybe you can take on little leadership moments at least. How would you, or what would your message be to everyone, maybe closing up when they hear the word leadership? Why should everyone, at least consider thinking about being a part-time leader at some point?
Yeah, I wouldn't put too much pressure on people to. Not everyone has to try to be a leader all the time, but of course, if you just kind of step out of your comfort zone and try to take little leadership roles, of course, that's going to boost your confidence a little bit.
That's cool.
And yeah, just generally that new experience will be a good one. But again, like I don't think everyone has to now step out of their comfort zone and try to take leadership all the time, because sometimes it's just as important to understand, if you're working in a team, to understand who the leader is, what they place importance on. Of course, you can't force them to do a strength assessment, but at least you can try to guess what maybe their personality traits are and how you can best kind of complement that and work with them, rather than trying to step in and be a leader yourself.
So interesting, for sure. And I'm definitely going to check out that Strengths and Wings Finder. That was really interesting for me, and I want to know what my strengths are, if it really, matches what I think they are.
Sure.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the moment, for, the little reflection on my talk with Siya. That was really cool. Thank you so much, York.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm definitely recommending for you at home to check out the Wings Finder or Strengths Finder as well. We're putting the link into the episode description. That would be so cool. We would love for you to either leave a comment or review on whatever platform you're listening to, or check out our brand new YouTube channel. We are uploading all our Mindset Win episodes there as well. And definitely hope to see you when we're talking to our next guest next Tuesday.